Hello, folks. I greet you. Welcome to the biggest forum for gentlemen of the Fourth Estate. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Again, today on the program, banks, fuel stations, and others shut as hardship protests begin in, well, this is a story from a previous edition, but let's talk about a story we shared yesterday concerning the abduction in Oyo State. It has since been dismissed. And of course, Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, has warned that no foreign interference will be entertained in our country. And then, of course, we'll also share another story with you. This is having to do with the fact that Minister of Finance and coordinating Minister of the Economy has told us that we spend no less than $600 million in importing petrol. I'm not alone. I'm here with my colleague, Paul Dada. Paul, I greet you. Good evening to you.
Good evening. It's always good to be here.
Well, the team is ready. I hope you are. Let's go there. Okay, then let's go. You know, on Wednesday, we shared a story about kidnappers disguised as unsuspecting passengers to kidnap travelers along the Ibadan-Oyo highway. The story has since been dismissed as untrue. The Oyo State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Ayo Shonubi, has stated that the story linked to a member of the State House of Assembly, Honorable Asimiyu Alarakpe, was untrue. According to him, none of his officers or men reported any such development. Paul, again, at a time like this, you're wondering.
Yes, I think the police is in the right position to actually give us a true picture of things.
Yeah.
So, of course, we know that police does not always have the reputation for telling the truth. But let us believe, let us just accept that.
Well, I spoke with the man.
Yeah, that's the
CP.
The CP.
Yeah,
yes. So I like to believe him because he is in the right position to give the information, to give the accurate information. The former speaker raised the alarm over it, but the police refuted it. However, we know it for a fact that police, the law enforcement agents generally have not been able to nip in the bud the incidents of kidnappings, especially roadside highway kidnappings and robbery.
Yeah.
So it is very easy for people to raise even false alarm because we know that Nigeria has not been able to deal with the spate of insecurity. And so it's fine. But police and other law enforcement agencies need to up their game when it comes to tackling insecurity in the country.
Yeah, Paul, but I dare tell you that regardless of the turbulent times, there are fine policemen and officers.
I do not doubt that. We've seen, we have examples of very competent police officers. It's just that, so, you have
they may be few and far between, but every now and as I told you, I spoke with Mr. Ayo Shonubi, the CP in Oyo State. He said there was no such thing,
Yes.
And that he spoke with his area commanders and DPOs in the Ibadan-Oyo axis, and there was no such thing.
Like I said, we should believe him, but it does not change the fact that police generally now, not just the Oyo State Police Command, that the police has not been able to fight crime to a standstill in the country. Yeah, like you said, we have competent policemen, but we have too much incompetence in the police force, or sometimes maybe the lack of will to actually deliver. And we've seen cases of, there was a particular place some time ago that armed robbers, they came, I think about 40 of them, they operated somewhere very freely, and police only came later. So we've had so many cases like that. Sometimes it's lack of will, sometimes it's because of lack of capacity. You understand? So all of this go to, ensure that the police is not able to live up to its billing in so many cases.
Yeah, the rebuttal became necessary because of developments, you know. So you follow those new links. As I told you, Mr. Shonubi, a gentleman, spoke with me and said that if there was any such thing, he would not have hesitated to confirm. But there is no such story, you know, that kidnappers who disguised as drivers and passengers abducted people.
But,
you know,
but it's not new.
Paul, it's a major story.
No. Wait, so, I understand what you are trying to say. But that kidnappers or criminals disguising, the case of kidnappers or criminals disguising as drivers, it's not new. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
so that's what I'm saying.
If you report a breakout and it is later shut down, you
absolutely, I agree.
It's only natural to
absolutely
to say so.
No, absolutely, I am not disputing what the CP has said. The rebuttal he has made. I'm not disputing that. So let us believe him, like I said, because he's in the best position.
Oh yeah.
He's in a better position to talk about this than the man who raised the alarm, because it's not in the. But even though I said that police should live up to his billing, I also want people to be very careful about the kind of alarms they raise, because these are difficult. These are difficult times.
That's the interesting angle to it.
These are difficult times. No, we can't,
so anything is possible.
So you can't just take advantage of the fact that we have security lapse in our country, lapses in our country, and then you decide to raise a false alarm. It does not bode well for the country. It does not pay anybody. What do you stand to gain from such? So that's it.
All right. I hope this is not the last we are hearing concerning this story. But let's deal with another one. You know, Nigeria is going through a rough patch, no doubt. But no external interference would be entertained as authorities strive to maintain order. The federal government has warned foreign countries to steer clear of the country's internal affairs. The warning came against the backdrop of foreign flags being flown during the ongoing protest against hardship in the country, especially in some northern states like Kano, Kaduna, Zamfara, and Jigawa states, so as well as the arrest of some foreigners as sponsors of the protest. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, who gave the warning while briefing members of the diplomatic corps in Abuja, highlighted the importance of cordial international relationships. So let's share the story by Moyo Thomas with you. Let's go there.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs says the fake news and misinformation circulating in the social media over the protest in Nigeria has made it necessary to address the diplomatic community. Both Ministers of Foreign Affairs and Information speak to the efforts and economic policies of President Tinubu as they assure the diplomatic community of government's commitment to democracy and development.
A compressed natural gas initiative to power transportation, the transportation economy, and bring costs down. This will save the country over 2 trillion naira a month, being used to import premium motor spirits.
We want members of the diplomatic community to understand that critical reform that the administration has embarked upon were likely to bring hardship. But this hardship was only temporary, and as with every good policy, it will take some time to mature.
They assured the diplomats that government investment in healthcare, transportation, housing and youth development will bring a new turn in Nigeria.
It is pertinent to remind us that no nation tolerates foreign interference in its domestic affairs and that of its citizens. Nigeria is not an exception. The government will take appropriate action against any foreign entity residing in Nigeria that is found to have directly or indirectly supported the protesters by whatever means.
Comments from the British High Commissioner and America's ambassador recognized and appreciated government's efforts as some sought clarification on the fate of the 7 arrested Polish nationals and those on watch list.
It is not a targeted operation at Polish citizens, not at all.
The DSS pleaded with the international community to avoid allowing their countries to be used as a launchpad to cause instability in Nigeria. The Minister of Foreign Affairs says Nigeria will not encourage political opportunism from Nigeria against any country and therefore solicit the support of the diplomatic community against political opportunism. Moya Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, many thanks, Moyo. Just before we go into the story proper, may I introduce that we are joined by gentleman Asukwo James. I greet you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, viewers.
Yeah. Paul, you heard this story. Nigeria is a sovereign nation, and so any interference in, especially at this time, will not be welcome. Or what do you say?
Yes.
Do you think?
Honestly, it beats me to see that people were raising Russian flag because of protest, and they were even hailing the president of the Russian Federation. The fact is that Nigeria is a sovereign country, like you said, and every country has its challenges. Every country has its challenges.
Peculiar challenges.
Yes, peculiar challenges. And the challenges of Nigeria have not mounted up to the point where you begin to have unnecessary foreign...
Where we begin to seek help.
And begin to call for foreign intervention.
Yeah.
In the UK, there was a protest.
There is. It's
still ongoing, yeah. Well, it turned violent because of these girls that were killed by the boy that lost his senses. And the British authority, the UK authorities stepped into it. And we didn't see anybody raise any flag. Nobody was raising an American flag or Russian flag.
But have you heard another slant to that story? You know, the flag of the Armed Forces of Nigeria looks a lot like the Russian flag.
No.
But they
were hailing, but they were hailing Putin. So the people who were hailing Putin knew that.
And they knew nothing, if you ask me.
Yes, so the question, now, that's where I'm going. There is a brain behind this. Because if you look at the people that were raising the flag, you might wonder, what do these people know about international politics? No, I mean, you would definitely ask the question. What do even the tailor that was arrested, if you look at him, I mean, if you size him up, you'll be tempted to say, look, this guy doesn't have that level of exposure, awareness, So somebody or certain persons were hell-bent on causing confusion. And remember that the DSS said that 7 Polish citizens have also been arrested.
Yeah.
So what I believe that what the Minister of Foreign Affairs said is in order. So we have not gotten to a point where we are not Somalia. Nobody is satisfied with the level of things. We want Nigeria to get better, but we don't want an undue interference. This is not a place where we want mercenaries to come and start causing confusion. Okay. You understand? I think Nigerian challenges have not gotten to that point, and we won't get to that point.
Yeah, Paul, Asukwo wants to intervene. Let's go there.
Yeah, I think those who actually, if you look at, just like Paul said, the people who are carrying these flags around, if you look at them, they are just children.
And what do they know?
They know little or nothing about that flag. They don't even know anything about diplomacy. Not
so
to talk of,
they would have been goaded on by some folks somewhere.
The thing is, they were dancing and there was someone who was actually drumming. You understand? So that is just it. Yeah,
these are hirelings, as we say.
No, of course. The tailor that was arrested, he was shocked. But we know that there was somebody who actually told him to do it. So that is where the DSS and the security agencies will begin to look who are the people that actually gave them these flags to carry and what were their intentions. Because you might just think that they were just carrying it and then they were, but they were also saying some things underneath.
Look at your
so they invariably had their own ulterior motive.
Asukwa, look at the children you are talking about.
Of course, look at children carrying flags and carrying leaves, and some of them don't even know why they are carrying it. You know? And don't forget, Russia has a semblance of presence in Niger. You understand? So I feel that there were some people who might have even infiltrated Nigeria from Niger, thinking that, okay, fine, this is an opportunity for them to just, come in. Don't forget, our borders are, not really, our borders are porous, So for this, for instance, shows that the government has to tighten its borders, because the past 8 days have been a time for us to reflect on so many things. Apart from being the hunger thing and all that.
Introspection.
So, we need to now sit down and begin to think as a nation, not as a country this time around.
As a matter of fact, gentlemen, it is time to cure the cause, not the effect.
I think the president would have done that in retrospection, thinking of how you'll be able to solve these problems. So many people have said, he didn't address the demands. But while they are talking about the demands of other things, I know the critical thing the president will be thinking is how he will be able to tackle the hunger. Because by the time you tackle hunger, nobody will want to go on the streets.
While we are tackling hunger, I still want to say that what happened with the raising of Russian flags is not something we should look at as if it's a minor. It's a knock-on thing.
I know.
You understand? Because
you can see that they even arrested politicians.
Exactly.
So there's somebody,
a predator, preyed on the ignorance of many of these people, and somebody had a motive. Somebody somewhere had a motive for this. Whatever the motive was, I don't know.
So this brings to mind what the late Chairman Mao Zedong of China said. He said, in war, you are killed once. In politics, you are killed many times.
Yes.
So the politician knows what he wants to do.
So that is why the intelligence agency has to start fishing out those who actually handed those flags to those children. And then name them. Because the problem we have is that sometimes we just
forget about
arrest these people, and after that, everybody...
Other issues will come up and we forget,
Because if, for instance, there's another protest, we don't know the flag they will be carrying. So the best thing is we need to teach some people, use some people to do example, so that next time they will not be able to do that.
Essentially, it would appear we are becoming notorious for not punishing bad behavior.
Exactly.
And when we punish bad behavior, let the everyday man see it.
That is it. Judgment should not only, justice should not only be done, it should be seen to be done. So I we really want to know what is going to be the outcome of this. So let the DSS do its investigation, but we don't want to be told what is happening. Are people going to, are hairs going to roll? There should be naming of the faceless person or persons behind the whole thing. I'm very glad that Russia itself
immediately
distanced itself from it.
Asukwa, you remember Paul mentioned the situation in the UK. The Prime Minister, Mr. Starmer, says he's not going to spare any wrongdoer.
No,
that's
the tone of his address. The tone of his address shows that he didn't want to just sit down idly and begin to pamper. It shows, even if you even posted anything online, he said they are going to get you. So So it's not something that we should also take with levity. The president must go after these people because I would say it. Those who actually handed those flags to those children had a serious intention. Their intentions were not good.
Yeah.
They were not good at all.
Because
they started in Kano, they next went to Kaduna, and then they were going from state to state, all in the north.
So
they had something.
Asoko, including, as you suggested, the tailor who sewed the flags.
Yeah, the tailor might not even know. They don't tell you, put white and blue and red.
Was he not paid?
Yes, he will be paid.
What I'm saying, he may be illiterate.
Yes.
They don't understand.
They don't understand.
Okay, wait.
No. It's nothing about money.
Well, but he may not know that. He may not even know it's a Russian flag.
Yes, of course.
Well, no, we can't speak for him, though. We can't speak for him.
No, we can't speak.
So he will be.
But the thing is, somebody would have told him, getting Obioma somewhere, so you put this red.
I just saw the flag.
So but it's hard to think that the illiterate tailor will want to conceive that idea and start. No, it's very difficult to accept that.
All right. Let's apply the brakes here. We must go on a break. We'll come back after the break. Please stay with us. Thank you. All right, folks, welcome back. Let's go our next story. We are definitely living in interesting times. So while we thought that we had heard the last on the petrol subsidy, a minister has let it be known that the country is spending a lot on importation. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, says Nigeria spends as much as $600 million monthly on petrol importation. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate has raised questions over the 2021 approval of 1.5 billion naira for the turnaround maintenance of the Port Harcourt Refinery. To the Red Chamber, it's unfair to treat government or public businesses or companies as orphans. Sounds like a familiar refrain, I suppose.
Yeah, it's very sad that at this point you are still importing, petrol after decades and years of turnaround maintenance. This thing called turnaround maintenance, I've been hearing it since when I was in primary school. And now I have children, and they are still hearing turnaround maintenance.
Your children will have children.
So I've been hearing turnaround maintenance. So even by now, I feel that we would have gotten another phrase or words for it. Maybe rehabilitation or something. But the turnaround maintenance is always coming with billions of naira for them to turn around. And I remember...
Makes me... who can forget General Buhari's... That's talking about Buhari's first coming. The Minister of Petroleum Resources at the time. Tam
West. Yeah.
Turn around. So for the importation, let me go to the first one, which is the importation, $600 million, monthly. So it's huge. It's quite huge, and that is where this government will start to play its role, or trying to see how they can reduce this $600 million. I know the last visit to Dangote Refinery, he was actually saying something about this turnaround, that his own refinery, the maintenance will be done every either 3 years or 4 years, and for Nigeria, we've been doing our own consistently with money, but we are not getting results.
Yeah.
So for now, I feel the government will have to start looking at how they can, reduce this amount of importation of fuel. We know that all our refineries are not working.
Yeah.
But we are spending money on doing turnaround. The last administration, I remember they even borrowed money to even do turnaround maintenance. And they told us that the refinery will be ready. I know several times that the CEO, GMD, came out to tell us when the Port Harcourt refinery will come on.
They keep shifting the post.
Exactly. In fact, you have forgotten that they even said August. Petrol will start running, and we are waiting for August. They think August will not come, but August is here. So I think Nigerians will begin to ask questions. And one of the questions is, why are we importing? Why are we spending so much money on this importation? When we know we have refineries that we're supposed to have turned around for us to start, getting petrol. Up to now, we are still spending this much.
Paul, the bystander would be scandalized that with the coming into the fray, the picture of the Dangote refinery, importation of the premium motor spirit would be a thing of the past.
That was what was expected. But, the shenanigans going on in that sector. You heard about the complaint of Dangote himself. That he couldn't access crude for a very reasonable amount of money, that the IOC, national oil companies, were much interested.
International oil companies,
yes. I don't know. But you see, the truth of the matter is that there are people who don't want Nigeria to make progress. Now, the first thing that comes to mind... And
they should be ashamed of
They should be ashamed of themselves. People, I don't... See, when people behave like this, I think people who do that are very narrow-minded. Are they Nigerians? Are their children Nigerians? Do they think of their children? Do they think of other people? Why should everything be about your pecuniary benefits? And so you can make a lot of money, the rest of the country can burn. So you don't care. If the country burns, how do you want to live in the same country? So now I think, when I think about something like this proverb, this Yoruba proverb comes to my mind. Always comes to my mind. The child of a meat seller that feeds on that eats bones. You understand? It shouldn't happen. I think that, first to start with, I think the reversal of the sale of the 4 refineries by Yaradua was a colossal mistake. It was a colossal mistake. If you remember, Obasanjo had, planned to sell.
Mooted the idea.
You understand? But Yaradua changed it. Now, government has not been able to do anything. Turnaround, much money had been voted into a turnaround, but the refineries could not be turned around. So there was no sincere. Look, this thing it's not rocket science. If you want to get this thing done, you can get it done. There was no sincerity in the so-called turnaround maintenance intention. There was no intention. That's what I believe. Now, there was no. If there was truly, why is it so difficult for us not to have those refineries working?
So, Asukwa, the second leg of the story, the Red Chamber is stepping into the fray. Do you trust what it hopes to do?
Well, I will say yes and no. Yes, because they are querying. And no, because at the end of the day, they will just throw the matter under the table, and at the end of the day, we might not even get any results. Because so far, if you look at how the National Assembly has been behaving, they've not really come out. Most of their probes, you just hear reps probing, Senate probing, there's also person querying. At the end of the day, we don't really get anything concrete. Nobody has been prosecuted for doing wrong. So when we hear things like this, like they are querying 1.5 billion, how they, at the end of the day, we don't get the results. And so Nigerians don't even trust them to query. And it's a very big problem, because when the National Assembly begin to have trust issues, it means that even because they are representative over there, it means that there's a big problem. So they have to begin to look at themselves. Are they serving the Nigerian people, or they are serving themselves? Because what Nigerians feel is that anytime the National Assembly says or the Senate or the reps are probing or querying or investigating anything, at the end of the day, we just, a citizen, do you still remember when one professor fainted during the NDDC probe?
And Asukwa, do you remember?
Today, we've not heard anything about that. They said they were going to bring forensic analysis.
Have you forgotten, Dada? I hope you have not forgotten the off your mic issue.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The NDDC
off your mic.
You understand? So till today, we've not heard anything.
The whole thing appears like you are acting from a script.
Exactly. So the Senate has to come out clean in this matter. If they really want to probe this $1.5 billion that was given for them to turn around that Port Harcourt refinery, they should make sure that everybody who is involved in it, whether they dip their hand inside the cookie jar, and at the end of the day, nothing is inside the jar. Those people should face prosecution. But if they are just going to tell us, okay, they are going to query, and at the end of the day, nothing will happen, let them not even come into the news at all. Let's just know that we do not have a refinery. Nothing is there in the refinery. And then we begin to pray to God to continue to be importing. I don't know how they feel that a country as big as this is importing, fuel. It's not. It doesn't make sense.
All right, Paul. Another word that comes to mind here is choice. These are the choices we are making. Consider this: we export a barrel of crude oil out. It returns. Returns with the premium motor spirit, and yet a barrel of crude oil has up to 42 byproducts. Nobody is asking.
Yeah, because there is no.
If you get.
No, I understand what you are trying to say, and that's why I'm saying that.
Nobody is talking about aviation fuel, kerosene, grease, and
every other.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, sometimes I think there is no genuine intention to develop this country because these things are not rocket science. Now, if you can fix the issue of refinery, the pressure on the naira.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Keep a lot of dollars in.
And Asukwa, hear this. I was in secondary school in Ogoniland when we had been flaring gas. Yes. I'm talking about the mid-60s. We still are flaring gas. When we keep paying lip service, we'll stop flaring.
We keep asking,
it's another of the choices we are making.
Questions, but no satisfactory answers. He talked about the Senate the other time, but the Nigerian legislature has been reduced to a barking dog that cannot bite. Because even sometimes when people go to face a panel, maybe a Senate panel or House of Rep panel, you see the way some of them talk. I remember a former governor, a former minister who was called, and he was, exchanging words with one of the panel members, saying that your master, we're talking about the former president, the current president now, your master, your guy, he has never been a minister or something. You remember? I'm talking about Ngige, if you remember. And he was exchanging words with Yayi.
No, with James Faleke.
No, was it James? Okay, it was James Faleke. I beg your pardon.
Yeah,
it was James Faleke. Yeah. Was that necessary, for God's sake? People don't take. So it behooves, and I think because legislature doesn't have the power to enforce, but the legislature can recommend, can call on the executive to do something. Often the executive fails to do anything. The legislature does not have the power of enforcement. Does not have the power of prosecution. Yes, you can make the investigations and. Make investigation and open can of worms. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But beyond the can of worms, beyond the opening can of worms, the truth of the matter is that it behooves the executive to do the necessary. You understand?
All right, Paul, fix your mic, because we'll need your voice. Yeah, Asukwa, let's look at the body of the story. The minister must be familiar with the figures. So when he says we are spending about $600 million in importing fuel, he knows what he's saying.
Yes.
But does this not this not raise a question in the mind of the viewer? But I thought we had done away with fuel subsidy. And so
this is not subsidy. This is
no. If subsidy was meant to go, it means everything related to it will be gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That now subsidy is gone. So whatever we are subsidizing petrol on is gone. But for this government, they cannot even say they want to say, okay, what are they going to use, as a substitute for petrol? And that is a major problem. So they just had to start, okay. But I know that from the little that I know, from the little that I've read, I know the importation that the money we are spending before for importation has even dropped to this amount.
Okay.
Okay. So it wasn't this particular amount.
It wasn't
last year.
This much.
This much. You understand? So, but they need to still import petrol. And who is importing? The only person and the only set of people that are importing maybe NNPC and the other JVCs, and doing that. But for now, they will keep importing. Whether it's subsidy or it's not, because this government will tell you that there's no subsidy. They are not subsidizing petrol. So me, I will only take what they are telling me. If I do my investigation and I see that they are subsidizing, I'll come here and I'll tell you that they are subsidizing. But for now, they are spending 600 million, okay, to import petrol to Nigeria.
Which could otherwise have been plowed into something else.
Yes, I think that is
national.
I think for this government, from what I have seen so far, and the little that I have read about this government, is like the president is big on reducing petrol in the system and increasing gas, the use of gas. Because if you look at it, the president is spending much more money in CNG now. I don't know if you guys listened, either yesterday or 2 days ago, Obasanjo was saying that Nigeria is not a oil country, but a gas country. So it means that we have so much gas.
We have so much gas.
We have so much gas that we can explore, and then we can
which we can explore and exploit.
Yes. And even export. And make more money. You understand?
Yet cooking gas, the price of cooking gas is rising.
Exactly.
I
feel that this government,
it's a paradox of sorts.
Serious one. So I feel the minister himself will, by the time he looks at this figure, he will know that, okay, there's a big problem. So how can they reduce this figure and see which other alternative that can they make so that these figures will reduce drastically, and then they look for other alternatives. But I know that this government is really big on gas, and I feel this will reduce in a couple of days.
If I may point, talking about gas. Okay. Now, I think there's another problem here. I think the efforts of the subnationals are not good enough. You talk about president, you talk about CNG. I do remember that the governor of Ogun State did talk about bringing CNG, this CNG, that. We have not seen anything.
No. I've seen the buses.
No, okay, we have not seen much from the state. That's what I'm saying. And people are complaining. Look, there are increased allocations to the states now. But we do not see the evidence of that. So everybody just focuses on the center.
I can confirm to you, I've seen the CNG-powered buses.
From Ogun State.
Ogun State, yeah.
No, now, just about Ogun State. Thanks for the information. What I'm saying is that you don't find all of that in every other state.
Well,
at least we don't know. If it's happening, we don't know.
Gentlemen, we have less than a minute to go. Quickly, is it possible to answer this? If you pour oil on troubled waters, what do you pour on troubled oil?
You pour trouble.
We need a lot of troubleshooting here because Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, is also the substantive Minister of Petroleum Resources. And he's been in the game, so he understands the dynamics.
Yeah.
So we
just, because people are, let's face it, people are suffering. And that's why they had to go and protest. People are suffering. Too much Turenshi, too much grammar. The man in the street doesn't understand it, but he understands hunger.
Oh, yeah.
And he knows that he shouldn't be hungry. There's a government that should fix his hunger problem. So we can speak big English here, discuss macroeconomic issues, and all these things do not concern the man in the street. He wants to eat. Then let him be able to eat.
All right, then.
That's it.
Gentlemen, let's move to our last but not least story. In a peculiar environment like ours, it would seem that the search for someone to blame is always successful. It becomes more curious when no one in particular takes responsibility. The fuel scarcity experienced in some centers in our country has an explanation. Nigerian oil marketers have shifted the blame to the #EndBadGovernance protests. In a statement by the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, this resurgence of long queues at filling stations in major cities across the country no trucks moved petroleum products during the protests. So the more so on Thursday and Friday, 1st and 2nd of August. Asukwa, are you persuaded?
Yes, I feel I'll stand to agree with the independent marketers. Because
okay, the logic.
Yes, because it would have been risky for through tankers to ply the road at that period when, just imagine, just start thinking, a tanker moving to Kano, for instance, during that period, or going to Kaduna, that period. It would have been disastrous, and we are not talking about something that when once it happens, government will take money to replace either your truck or your products, So everybody was just being careful and wise. In Lagos, for instance, if you look at it during that period, not that people didn't hear that, you can move around. But people were just being cautious. I'm not going to go and open my shop and somebody will come and burn it. You understand? So that is the same, tactics or strategy that most marketers, these particular marketers were doing. I think even at some point, the only filling stations who were open during that period were either NNPC, because I know that some NNPCs were open. And that is because they've already had products. Okay. So they were just opening at some point, they will close, open and close. I know some of them around my area. That was what they were doing. Mobile, I think one or two that I saw, but immediately they will just close their gate and then they will move. So people were just being very careful. And that period, if you notice, filling stations refused to even sell in jerry cans. Because they don't know what somebody will come.
What the motive is.
Yeah, of course. And then electricity was a bit poor, and so many people were even sleeping in darkness. So people were just being, the marketers were just being, very careful. And I believe in what they are saying.
All right.
Because nobody wants to put his own business at risk when he knows that
well, are you persuaded?
Yes, fully persuaded.
Asukwa is not speaking for you.
No, he's not speaking for me. The answer is a resounding yes. Although there are accusations you can make against Ip Man, that's in other context. But if you also know that it wasn't
considering this particular,
if you know that it wasn't even only filling stations that shut down, even banks did not open. So many businesses closed. If you remember what happened, we have not recovered psychologically. We have not recovered from what happened during the NSAS. We know the wanton destruction, level of destruction that took place during the period. The best DNA lab, forensic lab,
in Lagos
was destroyed, and it's not been replaced up to now. I do not think it's been replaced. I think they said it was the best in Africa.
In Sub-Saharan Africa.
Sub-Saharan Africa. Thank you. At that time, and it's not been so many people lost. Many people have not. Their people have not recovered from the carnage that took place during the NSAS. So it was a wise decision for businesses, marketers. Ip Man controls 80% of the filling stations in Nigeria, and of course, shutting down actually meant it would significantly affect the business. So let's just hope that we'll get this right. Now, if people want to,
Ip Man says next week we'll return to normal.
Yes. And I think even during that period, people that got
believe it.
I like to believe it. So there should be no reason why.
I think even I believe that because I know some filling stations I had to drive into one that I know that they had a very long queue, during that period, So today I had to drive in and buy. So it means that it's easing off a bit. So, and it's going to be across. It's going to take time. This one is not that there are no products for you to at the depot for you to go and load. There are products. It's just for them to go there, load, and then take to their different, retail centers. Well, they made this is genuine. It's not that there's a major scarcity. It's just that they were just being preemptive. They don't want anything that would, cause harm to them. It's business. I can't have a business venture, and at the end of the day, I know that there's a problem. I want to now go and put my hands inside the problem. No, so it's just a wise decision by Ip Man to have tell their members, hold on, let's see how things are, or things will go. Then afterwards, I can bet you maybe by this weekend or so, all the retail outlets would have fuel.
But gentlemen, the choices we have made, we should change them.
Yeah, I think that.
If I go to the brass tacks, as they say, the choice about flaring gas, we should stop it. The problem in the oil industry, we can solve the problem. They are generally man-made problems. So we don't need to import the answers. The answers, remember a former American president said, we don't need the Republican answer or the Democratic answer. In Nigeria, we don't need the APC answer, PDP, Labour, or ABGA. We need a Nigerian answer because the problem is here, the answer is here.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people have traveled out to see what is happening there. And the countries you have not been to, you have been there by reading. You know, there are so many countries you and I may not have been to, but we have been there by reading what happens there. Now, we've seen countries where people decide that things must work. You understand? And they have their own homegrown solution.
Yeah.
Not necessarily copying whatever you see in the US or you see elsewhere. Because every country has its peculiarities. You understand? You understand? So you look at your situation, you look at your peculiarities. You say, okay, let me learn from this place and that place. And then let me bring everything. What can I take? What can I leave? So it's about choices. And the truth of the matter is that we cannot expect to do the same thing. You cannot be doing the same thing the same way and expect a different result.
Just as we cannot, we started out by being the #1 crude oil producer in Africa. We have ceded that position to Angola.
Yeah, you know. So you know why it happened? It was because of me and you or our brothers who have decided to go this other way, in the sense that they decided to go into oil theft. You know, and that is where I would, because when he was saying, I was just thinking, if we have strong institutions, you know, people like that will know that they can't even try it. And that is why the countries that we go or we read is because their institutions are strong. So you can't just take anything for granted. You can't just say you want to go into crime and then you won't face the consequences. You know, so that is where Nigeria, that thing that you are saying, that Nigeria has to be, Nigerians really want to see, where our institutions will be stronger than either you are APC or PDP or Labour. You understand? So that people will not begin to see those parties as being stronger than the institution, the EFCC of this world, the police of this world, the Nigerian army and all that. You know. So by the time our institutions are strong, even the judiciary is strong, nobody will want to go take into crime.
If you permit me to wax a little lyrical, biblically, when the Christ said they will collect from those who don't have and give to those who have, so the rich will be richer. Don't you think it's happening with us?
No, of course it's happening. And don't forget, while it's happening,
because we have allowed it. We have allowed it.
No, like I told you, but I think there's somewhere also, either in the Bible, I'll look for it, that also you must not also forget even the poor. Because at some point, one day the poor will also come for the rich. And the past 8 days has given us that sign in the north. So it is something that all the leaders will have to begin to sit down, especially the leaders across Nigeria. It might not, it just happened, what they just did was to test the mic in the north. You can see even when they were telling them, it's enough, it's enough, it's not, they didn't want to hear until they now said, okay, they declare curfew, and in that curfew, they still had to start sending the military to, you know, man some strategic places, you know. So now the government across should begin to sit down and begin to reflect. The children that you refuse to educate today, will turn against you in future.
Tomorrow.
So the best thing is educate them properly now, so that they become your friends in future. Because if you do not do it in future, they will become you know what they will do.
Yeah.
I won't say it here because you know what they will do.
Okay. In conclusion,
so what I want to say.
Yeah.
See, Nigeria is not only bedeviled by poor leadership. We also have very poor following.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, it's time Nigerians begin to look at the actions of their leaders and change those that need to be changed during elections. This money politics. I mean, somebody comes, gives some boys probably 200,000 or 500,000. So these boys, they go to eat, you drink at a joint. That doesn't solve your problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You drink, you patronize a commercial sense.
No, Paul, it solves your problem only from this seat to this door.
Exactly. It solves nothing. We are still there, we're still back.
Yeah.
So I think Nigerians must begin to say, look, forget about ethnic sentiment, forget about tribal sentiment, or any kind of sentiment. What is the scorecard of this person? Let's ask ourselves honest questions. Can this person fix it? What is his pedigree? What has he done?
All right, I'm asked to thank Asukwa James for your time.
Thank you so much.
And Paul Dada, I'm asked to thank you for your intervention.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's our show for today. And of course, don't forget to join us every Sunday from between 1:30 and 3:30 for a 2-hour stretch. And just to inform you, we are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.